Hey everyone, Zero here, and today I have another structure deck concept I'd like to share. This time it's the Evil Hero structure deck. Now it's no secret that I'm a huge Blue Eyes fan, but I'm also a fan of the heroes, especially the evil heroes. I was excited when they announced new support back in August 2024, and I was super excited to get my hands on them when Supreme Darkness released in January. So thanks to that, I was able to make this structure deck. So this structure deck focuses on fusion summoning and all-around destruction. We can get more into that as we go into the cards and plays. So with that out of the way, let's jump right in to the monsters. So starting us off, we have here Elemental Hero Neos. Nothing we can really say about him considering he's a normal monster. He is needed for summoning Evil Hero Neos Lord, and really that's about it for him. Alright, so we're going to be speeding through these first few, but next we have Elemental Hero Avion. I used the alternate art that Supreme King Jaden used. I couldn't get my hands on any official ones, so I had some custom ones made for this. This goes for the other ones coming. Next is Elemental Hero Burstinatrix. Nothing much to say other than she's needed for fusion material. Next is Elemental Hero Clayman. He'll be needed for fusion material as well. I like to point out that even though his alternate art never got printed, I managed to get this one made based on what we saw from the show. Next is Elemental Hero Sparkman. Not much to say about him either, other than he'll be needed for fusion material. Next is Elemental Hero Wildheart. He does have an effect where he's unaffected by traps, but you won't be playing him other than using him for fusion. Now we're getting into the useful cards. Here we have Evil Hero Infernal Rider. If he's normal or special summon, you can add 1 Dark Fusion from your deck or graveyard to your hand. You can banish this card and 4 other monsters from your graveyard. Set 1 Super Polymerization from your deck. Also, you can't special summon except hero monsters, but you can fusion summon monsters that must be special summoned with Dark Fusion using other cards' effects. These effects last until the end of your opponent's turn, so basically this card helps you search for both Dark Fusion and Super Poly, which is crazy because Super Poly is a powerful card, and having a search for it is insane. Also, his other effects let you use Super Poly to summon your evil heroes without Supreme King's Castle's help, essentially. Next, we have this badass looking monster, Evil Hero Dead End Prison. If you control a fusion monster that must be special summoned with Dark Fusion, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can send 1 hero monster from your deck to the graveyard, and if you fusion summon a hero monster this turn, this face-up card can be used as a substitute for 1 material mentioned by name, but all other fusion materials must be correct. So he's great considering he can be substitute for your fusion summons, and all you need to do is send any hero monster from your deck to your graveyard. That's really good since you can send one of your heroes with a graveyard effect. Next is Evil Hero Toxic Bubble. You can special summon from your hand, but you can't special summon for the rest of this turn except hero monsters. If you special summon him and you control a fusion monster that needs to be summoned with Dark Fusion, you can draw 2 cards. This is pretty good draw power, and the only requirement is the overall strategy of this deck. So I'd say that's pretty good. Next is Evil Hero Vicious Claws. This guy here is just a free summon in hero strategies in general. You target 1 hero monster on the field, special summon this card from your hand in defense position, and if you do, that monster gains 300 attack. That effect is once per turn. If a monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card. Then if you have a monster that mentions Dark Fusion in your graveyard, you can destroy 1 card on the field, and this effect is only once per duel. So, a quick little thing before I go to the next card. I actually had this deck ready, like, a bit after Supreme Darkness, but decided to put it off until we got Vicious Claws, because I thought he would be a great addition to this deck. So, fun little fact. Next we got Evil Hero, Malicious Edge. If your opponent controls a monster, you can tribute summon him with 1 tribute. He also deals piercing battle damage, which is alright. Nothing spectacular. Next is Evil Hero, Adusted Gold. You can discard him to add 1 Dark Fusion or 1 card that mentions it from your deck to your hand. He also can't attack unless you control a fusion monster. That doesn't really matter since he will always be used as a searcher. That or fusion material with Dark Calling, whichever. Most likely both. Next up is Evil Hero, Sinister Necrom. You can banish him from your graveyard to special summon 1 Evil Hero from your hand or deck, except Sinister Necrom. This is a really good way to special summon some of your evil heroes, as long as you get this guy to the grave. Which isn't really hard nowadays. Next is Evil Hero Infernal Gainer. During your main phase, you can banish him from the field to let 1 of your fiend monsters have a second attack. And during the second standby phase, after activating this effect, you can bring him back in attack position. So that's pretty good if you want to deal a little extra damage, get the finishing blow if you have to. It's alright. Next is Evil Hero Infernal Prodigy. If you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand, and during the end phase, if he was tributed for a tribute summon of a hero monster, draw 1 card. Alright, that's it for the main deck Evil Hero monsters. So now I'll be going over some other monsters I added to the deck. Here we have Elemental Hero Stratos. When he's normal or special summon, you can either destroy spell and traps up to the number of hero monsters you control, except this card, or add 1 hero monster from your deck to your hand. You're more than likely going to pick the search effect with him. Next is Elemental Hero Liquid Soldier. When he's normal or special summon, you can special summon a level 4 or lower hero monster from your graveyard. And if he's used as fusion material for a hero monster and sent to the grave or banished, you can draw 2 cards, then discard 1. He'll be used mainly for fusion material, so you can capitalize on that draw effect. He can be used as material for 3 fusion monsters in this deck. Next is Elemental Hero Shadow Mist. So she can get you Masked Chains if she's special summoned, but that won't be used in this deck. I put her in here so you can send her to the grave and add 1 hero monster from your deck to your hand. There are some ways to do that thanks to cards like Dead End Prison, Liquid Soldier, Evil Assault, and Foolish Burial. You could also use her as fusion material to send her to the grave if you're desperate. Now here's an interesting choice. Here we have Beast of Talawar, the Sword Summon. He's always treated as Archfiend card, which doesn't really matter in this case, but if you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. The first time this card would be destroyed by an opponent's card effect each turn, it is not destroyed. Neither player can target other monsters with equip spells or effects, so he's basically like Cashtira Fenrir with slight differences. The destruction protection is pretty solid, and the target prevention is really good, especially against decks like Mikanko. And he's a fiend, so he fits. Alright, next is Lava Golem. I know this might be an odd choice too, but I have my reasons. First is you contribute 2 of your opponent's monsters to special summon him on their field. Second, he's a good super poly target for this deck. He's a fiend type, he's higher than level 5, and he's an effect monster. So he's material for 5 of your fusion monsters. He also deals 1000 damage to your opponent each of your turn, but I doubt that effect will go off most of the time. Alright, next is Nibiru the Primal Being. A really helpful hand trap where if your opponent special summons 5 or more monsters in a turn, you contribute as many face-up monsters on the field as possible, and if you do, special summon this card from your hand, then special summon 1 Primal Being token to your opponent's field. And that token has attack and defense become the combined original attack and defense of the tributed monsters. This is really good by getting rid of your opponent's monsters and even using Super Poly on their token for Dark Gaia. And if by chance you don't get to use his effect, his tribute effect, I mean, you can still use him as fusion material, since he is still a rock. And last but not least, for monsters, we have Ash Blossom, because of course. No explanation needed. Alright, that's it for the monsters. Now we're getting into the spells. Starting us off, we have Super Polymerization. Discard one card, fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from either field as fusion material. Neither player can activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation. This card is basically an FU to your opponent, especially if you use more than one of their monsters as fusion material. This is pretty good in this deck if your opponent has a warrior, fiend, rock, or a level 5 or higher monster, or an effect monster. So you have some options here, and your opponent can't play into this. You know, as long as you have Supreme King's Castle. Next we have Dark Contact. So you activate one of its two effects, but you can only use each effect once per turn. You can fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck that must be special summoned with Dark Fusion by shuffling materials from your field, graveyard, and or banishment into the deck. This is treated as a fusion summon with Dark Fusion. Its other effect is add one Supreme King's Castle or Dark Fusion from your deck to your hand. So this card is basically another fusion card or searcher, which both can be very helpful. Next is Evil Assault. So with Evil Assault, you can discard one card, take one level 4 or lower Evil Hero monster from your deck, and either add it to your hand or special summon it. And for the rest of the turn, you cannot special summon from the extra deck except hero monsters. And if this card is in the graveyard except for the turn it was sent there, you can banish this card from your graveyard, add one Dark Fusion from your graveyard to your hand. So this is a good card for special summoning from the deck and recycling your Dark Fusion from your graveyard. Your best target for the summon would most likely be Dead End Prison, since he can be used as fusion substitute for any of your hero fusion monsters. Here we have Supreme King's Castle. This field spell lets you fusion summon fusion monsters that must be special summoned with Dark Fusion with effects other than Dark Fusion. And once per turn, during damage calculations, if your fiend monster battles an opponent's monster, you can send one evil hero monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard. Your monster gains attack equal to the level of that monster sent to the graveyard times 200 until the end of this turn. So this is just so you can use Super Poly for your fusions, and that attack boost is nice too. Next we have Dark Fusion. This is basically your polymerization for this deck, and is a necessity to your fusion summoning. And it gives your fusion monster target protection for the turn, which is pretty nice. Next we have Dark Calling. Basically Miracle Fusion for your evil hero monsters, except you can also banish from the hand along with the graveyard. Next is Evil Mind. If you control a fiend monster, activate one of these effects based on the number of monsters in your opponent's graveyard. They have 1 or more monsters to draw 1 card. 4 or more monsters, add 1 hero monster or 1 Dark Fusion from your deck to your hand. They have 10 or more monsters, add 1 polymerization spell or fusion spell from your deck to your hand. So this card is basically a searcher, but it's very restrictive. Next up is A Hero Lives. If you control no face-up monsters, pay half your life points, special summon 1 level 4 or lower elemental hero monster from your deck. Your main target is Stratos. If you don't have Stratos in hand, use this to get him, which is better since you don't use up a normal summon. Next we have Emergency Call. Add 1 elemental hero monster from your deck to your hand. This will be used to either get one of the 5 normal elemental heroes, or either Stratos, Liquid Soldier, or Shadow Mist. It's all depending on what you have. Next, we have Reinforcement of the Army. Add 1 level 4 or lower warrior monster from your deck to your hand. Basically serves the same purpose as Emergency Call. Next up is terraforming. This is just to help you search for your Supreme King's castle. Next, fusion deployment. This lets you special summon a monster that's specifically listed on one of your fusion monsters from your hand or deck. But after using this, you can only special summon fusion monsters from the extra deck, which is perfectly fine in this deck. Next, Called by the Grave. This will help you counter a hand trap like Ash Blossom. Here we have Foolish Burial. Send one monster from your deck to the graveyard. Your targets for this would be Sinister Necrom, Shadow Mist, or if you're really desperate, one of your normal heroes. Here we have Lightning Storm. This is a pretty solid going second card. If you control no face-up cards, you can either destroy all attack position monsters your opponent controls, or destroy all spells and traps they control. It's not bad. Alright. Next we have Triple Tactic Talent. If your opponent has activated a monster effect during your main phase, activate one of these effects. Draw 2 cards. Take control of one monster your opponent controls until the end phase. Look at your opponent's hand and choose one card from it to shuffle into the deck. So you have a lot of good options to choose from, but 9 times out of 10 you'll most likely pick draw 2 cards. But the other options are there in case you need them. This is really good to use when your opponent happens to use Ash Blossom, Effect Veiler when it's your turn. So, not bad. And that's it for the spells. Now we're going into the trap cards. We have a few, so let's go through them. Starting us off, we have Dark Supremacy. With this, target face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of Dark Fusion and spells that mention it in your graveyard. Negate their effects until the end of this turn. You can also banish this card, then target up to 5 hero monsters in your graveyard and or banishment, shuffle them into the deck. So this trap is pretty good in negating your opponent's card, not just their monsters, any face-up spells and traps. You can also use this second effect to recycle your cards back into the deck. Next is Solemn Judgment. A solid card to just say no to your opponent's summon or spell and trap activation and destroy it. It will cost half your life points, but it might be worth it. Next is the classic Mirror Force. If your opponent attacks, you destroy all their face-up attack position monsters. Next is another good going second card. Evenly Matched. It will cost you your battle phase, but you can activate this card from the hand as long as you control no cards. So you make your opponent banish cards from their field face down so they control the same amount of cards as you do. So a thing people tend to forget with this is that this is a card you control. So if you use this with no other cards, you still control this one card. So your opponent will still be left with one card after this effect. Fun fact, I guess. Lastly, we have an interesting choice. Once again, Red Reboot. When your opponent activates a trap card, negate the activation. If you do, set that card face down. Then they can set one other trap directly from their deck. For the rest of this turn after this card resolves, your opponent cannot activate trap cards. You can also activate this card from your hand by paying half your life points. So the reason I added this is because trap cards have seen some more plays recently, especially with the addition of new hand traps too. And this is also good against those trap heavy decks. So that's why I think it would be a good addition to this deck. Let me know what you think about that. And that covers the main deck. Next is the extra deck. So let's just jump right into that. Starting us off, we have the newly released Evil Hero Neos Lord. He requires Elemental Hero Neos, or a fusion monster that mentions him, and one effect monster on the field as fusion material, and must be special summoned with Dark Fusion, as every other Evil Hero fusion. Just want to point that out so I don't repeat that requirement for the rest of the video. He cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. If he's special summoned or a monster is sent to your opponent's graveyard while he's on the field, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls, take control of it. You can only use this effect once per turn. So he's pretty good with the destruction protection, but to steal one of your opponent's monster just makes him amazing. Next we have another new evil hero, Evil Hero Infernal Wing Backfire. She requires Avian or Bastrinatrix and one hero monster as fusion material. If she's special summoned, you can add one Dark Fusion or one card that mentions it from your deck or graveyard to your hand, except fusion monsters. And if your hero monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, inflict 2100 damage to your opponent. And each effect is once per turn. Next we have another new evil hero, Evil Hero Darkest Night. Requires one fiend monster and one warrior monster. Monsters your opponent controls lose attack equal to the total original attack of the materials used for this card's fusion summon. He can attack twice each battle phase. If this face-up special summon card and its owner's control leaves the field by an opponent's card, you can target one fiend or warrior monster in your graveyard, special summon it in defense position. So this guy here is really good at weakening your opponent's monsters and attacking them. Next up is Evil Hero Malicious Bane. Requires one Evil Hero monster and one level 5 or higher monster. Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. During your main phase, you can destroy all monsters your opponent controls with attack less than or equal to this card. Also, he gains 200 attack for each monster destroyed this way. And you can't declare an attack except with hero monsters. Malicious Bane is really good for being hard to get rid of and destroying your opponent's monsters. Next, we have Evil Hero Dark Gaia. Requires one feed monster and one rock monster. His original attack becomes the combined attack of the materials you use for its fusion summoned. And when he declares an attack, you can change all of your opponent's defense position of monsters to face up attack position, and flip effects are not activated. So for his fusion summon, you can use most of your evil heroes as material, but for the rock one, you can either use Nibiru as is, Dead End Prison, or if you're super lucky, you can have the Nibiru token on your opponent's field at Supreme King's Castle, or Infernal Rider's effect still in play. You can super polymerization for him to get a high attack. Although that is super situational, so very unlikely to happen. Next is Evil Hero Malicious Fiend. Requires Evil Hero Malicious Edge and one level 6 or higher Fiend monster. During your opponent's battle phase, all monsters they control are changed to face-up attack position, and each monster they control must attack this card if able. Nothing really noteworthy with him, or the next few, considering they're a little outdated, but they're still evil heroes, so they gotta be included. Next up is the original Evil Hero Inferno Wing. Requires Elemental Hero Avian and Elemental Hero Bastrinatrix. Can inflict piercing battle damage. If she destroys a monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the original attack or defense, whichever is higher. Again, nothing noteworthy to mention with her, but is an option. Next is Evil Hero Lightning Golem, which I believe is the best of the original Evil Hero fusions, which is not saying a lot to be honest, but I still think he's pretty good. So he requires Elemental Hero Sparkman and Elemental Hero Clayman. Once per turn, you can target one monster on the field, destroy that target. That right there makes him solid compared to the other original Evil Hero fusions. Next we have Elemental Hero Infernal Sniper. Requires Elemental Hero Clayman and Elemental Hero Bastrinatrix. Cannot be destroyed by spell effects, and once per turn during your standby phase, inflict 1000 damage to your opponent. And she must be in face-up defense position to activate and resolve this effect. Again, nothing special to mention. You probably wouldn't summon this unless given no other choice. Next is Evil Hero Wild Cyclone. Requires Elemental Hero Avion and Elemental Hero Wildheart. If he attacks, your opponent cannot activate any spell and trap cards until the end of the damage step. And if he inflicted battle damage to your opponent, destroy all set spell and traps your opponent controls. So he actually isn't that bad. Preventing your opponent from using their spells and traps, then destroy them, is actually pretty good. Only downside is his attack not being good enough. Supreme King's Castle and Infernal Devicer can help with that, but it isn't guaranteed. Speaking of, we have Extra Hero Infernal Devicer. Requires 2 hero monsters as link material. So if he's link summoned, you can reveal 1 hero fusion monster in your extra deck. And if you do, add up to 2 of the fusion materials mentioned on that card with different names from your deck to your hand. After activating this effect, you can't special summon except hero monsters. Also, fiend monsters this card points to gain attack and defense equal to its level times 100. So he's integral to get your named material, and like I mentioned earlier, he can make your monster stronger. And to finish us off, we have Extra Hero Wonder Driver. Requires 2 hero monsters as link material. If a hero monster is normal or special summoned to your zone this card points to, target 1 polymerization spell, 1 fusion spell, or 1 change quick play spell in your graveyard and set that target. And if he's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, or if this card in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect and sent to your graveyard, special summon 1 hero monster from your hand. So he's good at getting your fusion spells back and maybe even gain a special summon off. But I have yet to see that effect go off from my experience. And that wraps up the Evil Hero structure deck. I'm happy that Evil Hero got some support, and I'm very grateful to that, but it could probably use some more. I think a cool concept would be an actual Evil Hero counterpart to Avion, Burstinatrix, Sparkman, Clayman, and Wildheart. They could have actual effects, and maybe something that either always treats them as the originals, or change their name while on the field or graveyard. Maybe even some retrains of the fusions like we got with Inferno Wing. Or maybe even some more new fusions that focus on certain types. You know, give Super Poly another target to work with. Those are just my thoughts on the idea. Let me know what you think on that, as well as the structure deck. Anyway, that's it for this video. Until next time, see ya!